Hello and welcome to my next C# and SpecFlow video. In this video, I'm going to talk about how a scenario outline works in SpecFlow. Scenario outline basically lets you run your test scenario multiple times based on different test input values. So let's go ahead with some practical demonstration in Visual Studio and see how this works. So while we are at Visual Studio, there are a couple of things that I need to do, such as downloading all the dependencies that I need for this example. And what I also need is our directory structure to store my feature and coding files. So to save time, I've already downloaded all the dependencies. So let me go ahead and give you a quick overview. If I open and manage NuGet packages, make sure installed it's selected. So what we have already added is SpecFlow libraries. Make sure the one with NUnit has already been downloaded on your system. And remember, I'm using a WebDriver. So I have also added in Selenium WebDriver alongside Chrome WebDriver to run my test in the Chrome browser. And finally, also make sure you have other libraries downloaded, such as NUnit 3 test adapter. That's there installed. And then we also need to make sure of SpecFlow MS build library like this one. And then finally, what we should also have is a SpecFlow.assist. So this library is important to support your SpecFlow tables. So that's already been set up. You can also see all these dependencies in the references folder. Next, I'm going to add a couple of folders in my project. So I can store my feature and code files. So I'm gonna right click my project and create a new folder. Where is it? Yeah, new folder, and give it a name features to store my feature files. Next, I'm gonna create another folder that's gonna contain my code bindings and give this folder a name. Okay, so just come to think of another folder that we might need to set up my WebDriver. So let me create this folder and name it WebDriver. So let us create our first feature file. So I'm gonna right click on features, add a new item to my project. Over here, if we select SpecFlow, we can see a SpecFlow feature file appears as a template. So a feature file is basically a text file, but with the dot feature extension, as we can see over here. So let me give this feature file a name and then click add. Okay, so and now what SpecFlow has done for me automatically is it gives the template for the feature as well as for the scenario. But what we can do is we can get rid of all the default text and replace with our own. So let me do that. I will quickly copy and paste the text to save time. There we go. Let me rearrange that a bit. Okay, right.
So before I take things to the next level, there is something important that I need to do, and that is to create the WebDriver object. Don't worry, you will be able to join all the pieces together later on. For now, in order to create a WebDriver object, we need to create a new class by right-clicking on this folder, go to New Item, and give this class a name. Let's say WebDriver Setup, and then press the Add button. So basically, the purpose of this class is to initialize the WebDriver that we are planning to use in this example. So first I need to make this class public. Then we need to give this class an attribute, what is called is binding attribute. We need to add a reference for this attribute. Select that. We also need to create a couple of private class variables after this. So let's do that. So the first one is for the WebDriver. Give this a name, driver. Let me add the reference to this. Let me add another one, which is also private. So let me add the reference to this one as well. So IObject container is a default SpecFlow container that we can use for context injection, and this can be simply done by passing the container object as a constructor variable to this class, which I will show you in a moment. In order to do that, I need to create a constructor for this class. So let's do that first. Let me get the class name. Pass this container as a parameter to this constructor. Let's give it a slightly different name, and then assign this to my local container variable like this. So should be like that. There we go. Right, so next we will create a hook before scenario to initialize the WebDriver. And in order to do that, what I need is a public method with the name initialize. In the function body, we will be calling a method called getDriver. And in goes my name of the Chrome browser. So I will show you how to create this method getDriver in a moment. So since we want to use Chrome WebDriver, what we have done is we have passed a Chrome as a parameter, as you can see over here, to the getDriver method. So far so good. Now let's move on and declare the getDriver method. I guess we forgot to give the attribute name. to this method, and that's supposed to be before scenario, right? So get driver method does nothing but returns the WebDriver that we need as we speak. So let's create this method first. Uh, so what we need is we need to declare the method. Let's make it public. Uh, give this method a name. Oh, we already got it. Get driver. With the return type, what we want to return is the WebDriver. So it should be iWebDriver. We also want, so this method is taking one parameter of type string. Give it an appropriate name. So next, what we need is we need to pass the required driver parameter in the switch statement. So first, we need to declare a switch. Take the parameter in, and then inside, what we need is a few lines of code. After having done that, let's finish this class by finally writing another hook, which is called after scenario. Okay, let me copy this, then change it to after. What we need is another method. Make it public void and give it a name at dispose driver. In the function body, we will be calling a few methods to close the WebDriver. We would also like to quit the driver. And then finally dispose it off. So this hook is quite important because we want the driver to shut down completely after it has finished running the test scenario. Oh, I just realized my WebDriver setup class is not in the correct folder. So it should be inside WebDriver folder instead of step devs folder. So I better move it there. There we go. So that looks better. So in the step devs folder, we should be declaring our step definitions. Right. So before I start implementing the step definitions, I guess I need something more important, and that is to create the page object that we need to perform the actual operations on the web browser. Once this page object is available, we can call that in our step definition class. I would recommend you to give a good read to page object model and how that works with Selenium. Like I mentioned, we need a page object first to carry on, and in order to do that, I need a new folder in my project and give it a name, pages. So let me add a new folder first. Inside this folder, I'm going to create a new class. Give it a name homepage, and that's going to be my first page object. So once we have this class generated, I'm gonna make this class first public, and then there are a few bits and pieces I'm gonna add into this class. So what I will be needing is a locator, a constructor, and a method to enter text in the Google search box. So actually, we also need to inherit this class from another class, which I'm going to create later, and that will be our base class. So inside this class, I'm going to create a private variable of type by, and give it a name search input equals by dot name. This is basically to identify the text box by using the name locator when we open the Google website. And then what we also need is a constructor. Let me correct these spellings. So public what I need is my class name, and then I need WebDriver as a parameter. So basically, we also need to initialize WebDriver in the base page class constructor, which I will show you in a minute how to do that. But for now, I'm just putting the code as it is. Okay, there we go, our class constructor. And then next, we need a method to enter the text in the Google search box. So let us create that. So with void return type, and we can give it a name, enter text and submit. This takes one parameter of type string. So that will be the text that we're gonna enter in the Google search box. Let me add some code to it. So enter text. So that's the text that I want to type in the Google search box, and this is the next parameter would be my locator that I recently created. Yeah, so please ignore the errors for now, as we have not created the base page as of yet. Let me add some of the missing dependencies. Uh, oh, that looks better. Okay, so a couple of things might be popping into our minds, why to inherit from another page object. So in this case, for example, from the base page, and that's for the simple reason, cause enter text. Uh, Actually, this name should be different than this one. Okay, so enter text is a generic method, and that will be definitely needed by many other page objects. So why not, putting something like this in the base object? So when more and more page objects are created in the project, they can call this method, directly from the base class. Uh, Otherwise, we have to rewrite the code over and over again for the same method. So better to put in one place, somewhere in the generic class, so we can reuse that code multiple times. Uh, so rather creating enter text method in this page, it's better to create in the base class and simply calling from here. Now, if we put enter text method in the base class, we will also be needing, the WebDriver in the base class. So that's why if you look over here in the constructor, we need to initialize this WebDriver in the base class as well through the constructor of this class. Hope that clarifies for now, but you will get a better grasp of it when you actually start working on a real-time automation project. Now shall we move on and create our base page object as we spoke earlier. So let me add a new class, give it a name, base page. Click that button. Okay, it's the spellings. Okay, let me quickly rename that. Okay, that looks better. Right, okay, let me change. Let me put public to this class, and then the first thing I will be needing is a protected variable of type WebDriver. Okay, let me add the dependency for this. Right, and next what we need is a class constructor to initialize the local WebDriver variable. So public my class name and my WebDriver variable to pass as a parameter. We will assign this driver variable to the local class variable like this. There we go. And what we also need is the enter text method. So public, so we want this method to be public with void as return type. Give it the name. So this is the same name that I'm using to call from my homepage object class, like from here. Better to copy that so we don't make any mistake, and then pass two parameters to this method. So one of type string, which is our text, and then another one of type by. So this method first waits for the Google search box to be clickable first, and then enter the desired input text before we finally press the submit button. So let me add some appropriate code for this. As you can see, we have created a wait variable, and by using that we are calling expected conditions dot element to be clickable. Uh, so these objects are available in Selenium extras library that we have already added by using this namespace, as you can see. Uh, and then finally we are using the send keys method for the web element, and finally pressing the submit button. And now if we go back to the home page object, we can see all the errors have disappeared. Okay, so after this we are about to create our step definition class to implement the steps in our feature file over here. I will show you in a moment how to do that. So in the feature file we have two steps as we can see. Right, in order to implement the step definitions, what we need is a new class in our step devs folder by right clicking and then click new item, and then we need to add this class, and we can give it a name, home page steps. Okay, so let me make this class public first. Okay, let us go back to the feature file and start implementing the step definitions by right clicking the step that we want to implement, and then select generate step definitions. So we can see this window pop-up shows us both the steps that we want to implement. So all we have to do is to copy methods to clipboard, and then go back to the class that we recently created, and then all you have to do is paste your steps. Okay, let me comment out the code that we don't need it for now. Also, let us resolve the dependencies for given and when. Okay, so both of them, they are resolved after adding the required dependencies. So before we move on and carry on with implementing the step definitions, what we also need is to initialize the WebDriver in the base class for the steps definition. For the steps definitions that we are going to implement, the benefit of that would be to call the WebDriver in the step classes. In whatever the step we want to, we can use that WebDriver directly in this class that we will inherit from the base steps class. So it's going to be like this. So let's move on and create my base steps class in this location. So new item, and then make this class public. So we'll be needing a couple of things in this class. So after creating the driver variable of type WebDriver, what we also need is a constructor. So let me get the class name, has to be public, and then we will take one parameter in this constructor of type WebDriver. Okay, let me resolve the dependency first. Okay, copy that down. And then assign this driver variable to the one over here. So after having created this class, let us go back to homepage steps and then add a constructor in this class. I will tell you why we need the constructor in this class. So public, right, class name, we need a parameter of type WebDriver. So this will call the constructor of the parent class. Right, so what error it's throwing? It looks like we are missing the body for this constructor. So let me add this. Right, that looks better. Now, in order to move forward and to call the enter text and submit method that we created in our page object, this one, what we need is to create an instance of the homepage object first. In order to do that, what I also need is to create a homepage variable first. So we can do that by creating a variable of type homepage. Give it whatever the name you like. It should not be steps. We need to add the reference for this as well. So once we have created the variable of type homepage, all we have to do is to go inside the constructor and create the new instance of homepage equals new homepage object and pass driver as a parameter. Right, so now it's time to implement our step definitions. So let me pick the first one. So the user has launched the Google homepage. So we have the driver available in this class now, and all we have to do is navigate to the system under test, or in this case, we are using Google website. So I'll be using the navigate method to go to the URL I wanted, and then all we have to do is to type the URL. And the next step is we have to type something in the search box and then press the submit button. So we got the homepage object available. So let's type that. So this displays the method that we created in the homepage object, and we need to pass one parameter of type string, and that's the one which we are getting from the feature file. It's good to give a more readable name. So it looks we have done most of the stuff in this class, except that we forgot to add binding attribute over here and then resolve the dependency. I'm just putting in the wrong place, so it should be on the top of where the class is declared. I guess it's time to compile and run this example. So when we run this example, what we should see is that Google has searched 3 times based on the search input strings coming from this data table. So let me clean and then build this example. And then if we go to Test Explorer, let us run. Right, so we have not added any code to click the agreement button. As you can see, whenever we open the Google, it always asks for some kind of agreement. So this code has not been added. But in the background, what is happening? It opens the Google website every time, so 3 times based on the input search parameters coming from the feature file, and then it input the search text and then press the submit button, and then finally displays our result. Also, in case if you see, your web browser is not opening up properly, make sure you have added the correct dependency for the Chrome browser based on your Chrome browser version. Otherwise, you will get a failure message related to your Chrome browser. So make sure you have added the correct dependency for that. If you like the video, give it a rating, and thanks for watching.